Chapter 19. In front of the college entrance exams, all people were equal. While rookie player Luo endured humiliation and answered the language test, Yusui and Ji Yanan were unable to break away from convention. They, like so many of the candidates' parents, anxiously couldn't bring themselves to leave the examination site. Instead, they endured the summer heat, waiting eagerly and anxiously outside, together with the candidate in spirit. Of course, the two of them, though, were inside the car. They lay the car seats flat, using the cushion as pillows with the air conditioning at full blast and with drinks in hand. The summer heat couldn't get at them inside. Ji Yanan took a sip of his cola and looked outside the window, feeling absolutely stupid. Do we really have to wait here? Of course. Yusui lay down. He put on his sunglasses and looked at his mobile phone. What if that little bastard suddenly comes out and we're not here? Ji Yanan shook his head. I was looking at the examination room instructions while I was waiting for you. It seems you can't submit your paper even if you finish earlier. There's always a what if in every situation. What if he pretend to be ill? Yusui lazily said. If he really ran away, who would take the next 3 exams for him? After thinking a while, Ji Yanan agreed. He squinted as he took a look at Yusui's phone interface. He moved closer and frowned. Are you still taking selfies? No. Yusui took off his sunglasses and directed a business smile to his phone. There's no training today, so I thought I'd do an outdoor live broadcast for everyone. Ji Shen is also here too. Captain, say hello. Ji Yanan simply collapsed. Can't you read the mood? That little whelp is inside right now preparing to come out and chop you down. And you still felt like doing a live broadcast. What's the difference between you and those who do live broadcasts of their family's funeral arrangements? What's wrong with me doing a college entrance exam live broadcast? Yusui urged. Hurry up. I still have 20 hours of live broadcast this month. Today, I'm going to knock off at least 10 hours. Ji Yanan was left with no choice but to go along with it. He reluctantly smiled and made a peace sign with Yusui. He greeted the fans and hurriedly put on his glasses, embarrassed. Yusui didn't feel there was anything embarrassing about this. Everyone here was bored. So what if he opened a live broadcast? What are we doing out here? Sending Luo to take the exam. Yup, the college entrance exam. Yusui stretched his legs, exuding a sense of healthy vitality. The holy light of compulsory education shines equally on every student, including our esports players. Of course, Luo is taking the exam willingly. Why wouldn't he? The college entrance exam is such a good thing. Of course, he wanted to take it. When he went into the venue, his face was radiating with gratitude. He even gave us a deep bow. Chop me down. You guys heard wrong. Ji Shen was joking. Luo is very grateful that his alma mater hadn't given up on him and gave him this valuable opportunity to take the college entrance examination. He also cherishes this opportunity very much. It's true. I'm not lying to you. Why don't you believe me? Why are you all saying I haven't spoken a word of truth? I don't know if he'll do well on the exams or not. Yusui suddenly thought of something. He asked Ji Yanan, can you have them hurry up a bit? Get them to quickly finalize Luo's live broadcast contract. How about for his first live broadcast, he does a college entrance exam score reveal? It will be exciting and a nice surprise. A college entrance exam scores reveal. Ji Yanan looked at Yusui, at a loss for words. He might as well smash the pot since it's already cracked. Why don't I have the publicity department fly over here now? They can shoot him through the entire process. Later, they can edit a college entrance examination documentary. What do you think? Will Shi Luo smash up our base? This really was possible. Yusui could only regretfully give up. Yusui continued to tease the fans. He was a very talkative person. He didn't need to interact with the chat. He could talk to the mobile phone without feeling the slightest bit awkward. He could happily amuse himself with talking for a long time. In the time they were waiting for Shi Luo to come out, at first, Yusui was in high spirits as he held the phone and chatted. Then, he half leaned, half lay down as he gossiped idly with the viewers. And after another hour, Yusui gave an apologetic smile and said, "This won't do. I didn't eat this morning. I think my blood sugar's a little low, so that's it for today." Yusui's lips were pale. The fans too felt that he didn't look quite right, and so they asked him to quickly eat something. Yusui hurriedly closed the live broadcast. Putting the mobile phone aside, Yusui quickly pushed open the car door and rushed to the side of the road to reach into a garbage can. Ji Yanan, who was in the car, took off his sunglasses and took a bottle of mineral water as he too got off the car. The doctor told you already. You have to pay attention to rest. You probably hurt your stomach because you haven't rested all night. Ji Yanan frowned. How come you didn't vomit out anything? Didn't you eat anything at all this morning? Yusui rinsed his mouth and rubbed his cramping stomach. He gave a pained smile. Eat. I didn't dare to delay even a second and we still almost got here late. That's why I said before that you should just take a plane or the high-speed rail. But you insisted on driving over here. Ji Yanan couldn't understand. Who could stand driving the whole night after having just played in a match? Yusui drank a couple mouthfuls of water. If we took the plane, he'd know what was going on as soon as he saw the destination on the ticket. You think he'd go with me then? I wouldn't be able to catch him if he tried to run at the airport. It'd be even more troublesome. Ji Yanan frowned. Aren't you a little too nice to him? Yusui wiped the water from his chin with the back of his hand. He's a devil of my own making. Let's not talk about this anymore. Ji Yanan was helpless. He said, then what should we do about you? Should we buy some medicine for you around here? What medicine should I buy? Is indigo woad root okay? Indigo woad root can't do shit, Yusui said. Half dead, it's no use taking medicine. Just give me a cup of hot water. Ji Yanan said, okay, you get in the car first. I'll get you something hot for you at the convenience store. Yu Jung nodded and got into the car, mineral water bottle in hand. Not long after, Ji Yanan brought some hot soup from a convenience store and got in the car. They didn't have much, so you'll just have to make do with drinking a bit of this. Yusui wasn't picky. He drank the soup slowly and said much more easily, much better. Ji Yanan looked at Yusui, and after a moment, said, how about you slowly retire, and then. Yusui felt a headache coming on. Here we go again. Who doesn't have any stomach problems? We've had it checked before. It's just a small problem. Do you have to go that far? Ji Yanan continued. It's okay to be unwilling to manage the club. These can all be learned slowly. When I first formed the team, I was completely blind to everything. Later, when I started the company, I was caught even more unprepared. Fortunately, Minmin and her father were there to help. Let's not talk about this. Every time I mention it, you don't listen. Some things haven't been explained clearly. I'm not asking you to work as my assistant. Isn't it your birthday next month? Ji Yanan smiled generously. How about I give you the entire FS club as your birthday present? Yusui didn't even have to think. I don't want it. Ji Yanan sat in his seat, paralyzed with exhaustion. I'm not kidding. I'm giving it to you. I really don't want to manage it anymore. I'd feel distressed giving it someone else. It would be better if I left it to you. Yusui shook his head. It's impossible. There are a lot of good managers out there. Look for one yourself. Ji Yanan was left with no choice. Why are you so stubborn about this? Did you close the broadcast already? Yusui glanced at his phone and nodded. It's closed. Ji Yanan talked more freely. You can only play pro for a few years. You're not worrying about it now. You feel like you can play for another 10 years. I thought so too back then. But what was the result? Okay, fine. Even if you could play for another 10 years. Ji Yanan looked at Yusui with a serious expression on his face. What will you do in 10 years? Have you thought about it? Good timing. We both have a lot of time these next 2 days. Tell me what you think. Yusui looked at Ji Yanan like he'd gone crazy. Have you been attending too many meetings lately? Really, the last person who talked to me like this was my high school counselor. I'm passing on to you my precious life experiences right now. Ji Yanan was helpless. I'm not older than you by 8 years for nothing, okay? If there's something you didn't think of, I can think it over for you. You shouldn't just think about training and competing all day long. You have to plan for your own future. Yusui said indifferently, I've already thought about it. Ji Yanan said, then you tell me about it. Yusui smiled and said nothing. Ji Yanan said angrily, you just can't recognize others' good intentions. Yusui smiled, okay, Sister Minmin has always disliked me because of the penalty fee from back then. After 2 long years, she's finally a little happy with me. Please stop trying to ruin our hard-earned friendship, alright? It's unlucky enough for her that she's fallen for you, standing by you for so many years. Don't do anything unnecessary. Ji Yanan was left with no choice and could only set aside this matter once again. During their conversation, more and more people gradually gathered outside. Yusui looked out the window of the car and his eyes brightened. Are they coming out soon? Come on, come on. We have to be there to welcome him. Ji Yanan sighed and followed Yusui out of the car. He opened the back compartment and took out 2 bunches of flowers. Yusui took one of the flowers from Ji Yanan. He frowned, and cautiously expressed his doubts. This type of hydrangea seems to be used on a specific occasion. Ji Yanan looked uncertainly at the flower in his hand. Is that right? I don't understand things like these. Didn't you tell me to buy the most expensive one? It's that expensive. 1 bunch for 2,000 yuan. It's fine. Yusui himself wasn't quite sure himself. Maybe I guessed wrong. Hold it tight. Yusui and Ji Yanan stood side by side. 5 minutes later, Shi Luo, surrounded by a vicious aura, walked out of the examination site. He was like the sun shooting Hui, like a warrior coming out of purgatory, his body emanating monstrous raging fires. Yusui faintly sucked in a breath. He handed the bride's hand bouquet to Shi Luo. He appeased him quietly. We have no experience with this kind of thing. I think the other parents are holding up sunflowers to symbolize besting the exam in one take. You'll just have to make do with these. Ji Yanan also handed the bride's bouquet in his hand to Shi Luo. Tomorrow, we will also hold sunflowers. Shi Luo was so angry that he couldn't speak. He even thought of turning right back around and going back to the exam room. Let's go get something to eat. You can take a noon break. Yusui urged Shi Luo to get in the car. It's too hot out here. Shi Luo was flushed with anger. He stiffly got in the car. He sat by himself and closed himself off, refusing to talk to Yusui. Hey, what's with this? You think I didn't earn as much as you do when I took the exam? Yusui held back from smiling. But unlike you, I never told them my annual salary was in the millions and I still took the exam. Shi Luo ignored Yusui. Are you really angry? Yusui smiled. Or are you angry because we weren't holding sunflowers for you? Shi Luo was so angry he was about to let out steam and he still didn't speak. However, this just reminded Yusui of something. Yusui said, or we could hold up a banner for you this afternoon. Is there still time? Ji Yanan, who was driving, tilted his head and asked, a banner. What would we write on it? A warm welcome for FS substitute player Luo to the exam venue. Why do you have to emphasize, substitute player? Yusui shook his head. Forget it. A big banner would be too ostentatious. Did you bring any of the staff with you? Let's just hold up some hand signs. Having a small group of supporters should be fine. Ji Yanan was still more concerned about the content. What would we write on the signs? Yusui thought for a moment. Take the test one time. Get happiness for a lifetime. Shi Luo, Ji Yanan readily followed good advice. That can work. But it would be best if we come out with something a bit different. That's easy. Yusui put on his sunglasses and leaned back against his seat. This tests my BTCH. This will go off without a hitch. Shi Luo, Yusui came up with another one. Test and write, get life right. Yusui was simply bursting with ideas. One's exam story, the whole team's glory. Yusui, Shi Luo finally spoke, and he was practically grinding his teeth. One more word and I'll jump out of this car. Yusui got a stomachache with how hard he tried to stop himself from laughing. He waved and gestured for Shi Luo to take a quick rest.